Take a close look at this moment, an image that captures the chilling instant when one of history's most mysterious mummies was finally revealed. This is the mummy of Tutankhamun, a young pharaoh whose tomb remained hidden for nearly 3,000 years. Buried deep within the silent desert cliffs of Egypt's Valley of the Kings. When the sealed chamber was first opened, many believed they were stepping into a lost world overflowing with unimaginable wealth. Gold, jewels, and sacred artifacts untouched by time, and in many ways they were right. But alongside that wonder came something far darker. Not long after the tomb's discovery, an unsettling pattern began to emerge. Within a short span of time, more than a dozen individuals connected to the excavation died under strange and unexplained circumstances. Whispers quickly turned into fear, and fear turned into legend, the so-called Curse of the Pharaohs. Was it coincidence or something more sinister tied to the ancient burial? As researchers began to examine the mummy itself, the mystery only deepened. Nothing about the burial seemed entirely normal. The ancient Egyptians followed highly ritualized and sacred methods when preparing their dead, especially their kings. They believed a pharaoh would journey into the afterlife and stand among the gods, acting as a bridge between divine forces and the living world. Because of this, the mummification process was carried out with extreme care. But in this case, many of those traditions appeared to have been broken. Why did this young ruler receive treatment that seemed rushed and incomplete? Why were parts of his body damaged in unusual ways? And why does his burial continue to puzzle historians even today? When the tomb was first entered in 1922, the expectations were enormous. They anticipated discovering a vast and magnificent royal complex. Instead, what they found was surprisingly modest, a relatively small chamber, almost like a storage room. The burial site was not placed among the grand tombs of his royal predecessors, raising questions about why he was laid to rest in such a place. One possible explanation is that the young king died suddenly and unexpectedly. His death may have left those responsible with little time to prepare. As a result, he might have been placed in a tomb originally intended for someone else, hastily repurposed in the face of urgency. Further evidence seems to support this idea. Inside the tomb were multiple coffins, placed one inside another, each crafted from precious materials. These were designed to resemble divine imagery associated with the afterlife. However, one of these coffins stood out. Its design did not match the others, and even the facial features appeared inconsistent with the well-known funerary mask of the young king. This led researchers to believe that this particular coffin may have been made for another, now nearly forgotten ruler. Additional irregularities were discovered during closer inspection. Some parts of the coffin appeared to have been altered or cut to make them fit properly. Fragments of decorative elements were found broken and displaced beneath the stone sarcophagus, suggesting a rushed and improvised process. The question of how the young king died remains one of the greatest mysteries. There is no single answer, but several theories have emerged. Evidence suggests that he may have suffered from various health issues, possibly due to genetic complications within the royal bloodline. His body showed signs of physical weakness, and he may have struggled with mobility throughout his life. At the same time, traces of disease were also detected, indicating that his immune system may have been compromised. Despite these challenges, he appears to have led an active life, possibly engaging in activities like chariot riding. This raises the possibility that a serious accident played a role in his death. Injuries found on his body support this theory. However, one of the most puzzling discoveries was the absence of his heart. In ancient Egyptian belief, the heart was essential. It was considered the center of thought, emotion, and identity, and it was crucial for the journey into the afterlife. Removing it went against everything their tradition stood for. Why then was it missing? The condition of the mummy itself also raises questions. There is a large incision across the body, far more extensive than typically seen. This led experts to conclude the embalming process may have been carried out hastily, possibly under pressure or without proper preparation. When all these clues are brought together, they paint a picture of uncertainty. Perhaps the young king suffered a sudden and fatal accident. Perhaps those responsible for his burial were forced to act quickly. or perhaps details have been lost forever, hidden within the sands of time. Even today, the story of Tutankhamun remains a captivating enigma. A young ruler, a hurried burial, and a mystery that refuses to be solved.